Hello and welcome to another episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. I'm Mia Saenz. And in this episode with me is Joanna Shakti. And I'm really excited to bring her because she has all these beautiful, they're not secrets because she's going to share them, but there's all this nuance about sex intimacy in relationships that a lot of people are very uncomfortable to talk about. I love this stuff, and so I'm bringing her to you. So welcome, Joanna. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's really good to be here with you, Mia. And these are such rich and really important topics. But oh my gosh, the conditioning and should I and shouldn't I and all of that. Yay.
Yeah,
Thank you for creating the space.
thank you. It's founded in our puritanical country, literally, and all British founded countries are this way. So it's really beautiful to be able to pull apart those layers and say, I really want a little bit more intimacy, more sexiness, more juiciness. My body loves to feel. So I'm really glad that we're bringing this topic up today. Would you like to first share with people how you got into this work? And then we'll start our conversation.
Sure, absolutely. And truly, I came to this work because it didn't work for me. And it was, and really, when you wake up to, oh my gosh, what's possible? I grew up in the heart of the 70s, the heart of the women's movement. I got an electrical engineering degree and an MBA, and I went to work in the oil and gas and high-tech industries with the good old boys in Houston, Texas in the 90s.
Wow.
And I learned how to prove how masculine I could be and that I could outman the men. And I was proud of it. And like, how much can I outdo them? But then I wanted to love them too. And I wanted them to love me. And I wanted to have good orgasms. And so I
Oh,
married
beautiful
Prince
thing.
Charming, but we were divorced 4 years later. And we didn't have a whole lot of sex we were in our early 20s. We didn't have a whole lot of sex during that time. And orgasms were elusive. And so fast forward, I found myself in my early 30s in an event that was describing masculine and feminine dynamics. And I truly saw how, as I had thought I had to portray myself in the business world, and then I carried that energy home into my marriage and then into my relationships, which I kept going, what's wrong with all the men? And that wake up call to, oh my gosh, there is this feminine woman in me who loves sensuality and loves to be courted and asked out and made love to. Not so much about what I had to do for him.
Yeah.
And that was the wake up call that said, oh my gosh, I am blessed and actually served by my engineering degree and my corporate stint, if you will. And it's time for me to serve women who have thought they had to be something and weren't allowed to be who they truly were. And the men, and I also serve the men that love us. Mm-hmm. And so it is a deep honor to really explore from the boardroom to the bedroom and all aspects of intimacy and how we can really wake something up when we get real about that.
I love that. I have goosebumps all over me because I'm a very sensual person and a sensual being. And there was a time in my life in between marriages where if I wasn't dating someone or in a relationship, you find that, what do I do? How do I take care of myself? My body's crying. She wants to play. She wants to be something different. So I had to come to terms and create myself in that happy place, just being with myself, so that then I did call in my partner and we were married. And, so it's so interesting because women do not allow themselves, and men, I'm sure you have an issue too at times, but women do not allow themselves the grace of what are beautiful bodies, no matter what size, no matter what age, we can do. I read something, and this is sort of off a little bit, but I saw something on Instagram that really kind of irritated me. I'm a plus size woman. I love my shapely body. It is loved deeply. And I saw that there was this device that a heavier woman could use to be able to pleasure a man. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Hmm.
Women can do whatever they want to do with their gorgeous bodies. They don't need your damn tool, you know? And
Absolutely.
it was ridiculous. And I'm thinking, who, and they put it that way, you know, for a plus size woman. I'm thinking, what the hell is that? You know, so let's talk about love, sex, and intimacy, because it's for everyone. It's not just for the Barbie doll or the poster child on Instagram. It is for all of us to, and part of it is understanding our glorious body and loving it absolutely the way we are. We can create less or more of us if we want, but it's about being in the moment with that intimacy.
Yes, 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 yes. And really for me, as I talk about taking people down the path of soul love.
Mhm.
And that soul love being an expression of the love we have with self, the love we share with other, and the love that we share are infused with, whether we want to call it the divine or God or life or the universe, but that universal unconditional love. And so, how we explore that whole path has everything to do with the level of pleasure. But the starting point, you were just describing it so beautifully. The first phase in that journey is about how we're being. And I call it ecstatic authenticity, like where it feels, and we're talking about feeling, where it feels so good to be ourselves. No matter what we look like, no matter what bad habits we have, that in our beauty and in our mess, in our strength and in our weakness, in the I've got it together and I so don't have it together. All of that, when we can let ourselves be exactly as we are, when we can truly love that being, honor her, that it is only then that we actually become available for loving. That we no longer twist ourselves into a pretzel, settle, sell ourselves out, think we have to be something to have love and have pleasure. It is purely coming into, I am me and I love being me.
Mhm.
That makes us hot and sexy. Nothing to do with the qualities of our body or
Right.
what we've accomplished or
Mhm.
not.
Yes, 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 yes. And you know, it's funny. I was just ranting about, you know, about that chair tool thing, and I'm thinking, I suppose it was made for somebody who absolutely needed it, but the marketing was off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you're slightly handicapped, then of course, you know, but to put it as if it's a normal thing in society, it's like, what?
Oh,
You know?
the things that you know, whether it's, there was we're talking social media, but on Facebook recently, there was a photographer that had done photography focused on the love and the intimacy of, I believe it was centenarians, so 100-year-old, you know, that 90s to into their hundreds.
Yeah.
And there was this beautiful picture of the crinkled up man and woman giggling with each other, laying on their sides in bed. And they were so in love. We don't have to ever, they're so in love, and we don't have to ever give up for any reason our pleasure. Now, we may navigate it based on what bodies can do or how we're feeling, but it's still that right, that innate sensuality and pleasure and juiciness and yumminess that we can feel no matter where we are or what we're doing. And when we bring that, speaking heterosexual relationship right now, but when we bring that to a man, he's like, oh yeah, more of that, please. How can I help you? How can I serve you?
Yeah.
And then our job is to receive,
Right.
because they go together.
Beautiful. You know, intimacy, I've worked in this field, you know, with clients for about 10 years now. Actually, it has been. I'm having my birthday work next month. Um, but the word intimacy, that's what I want to talk about, because it used to be just, oh, people in the bedroom. But no, intimacy is it's who we are. It's the levels, right? The vulnerability, the extrovertedness, the how we're connecting with not just ourselves, not just with somebody else, but it's about ourselves. And yes, we hear about that into me see, which I'm tired of that kind of saying, but it really is about us, and it's almost as beautiful as the word love is. Will you talk about intimacy?
I will. And I know you hate those phrases, but I'm going to play with them a little bit.
Okay.
Because so when I take people on this path of, we talked about the first phase, the ecstatic authenticity, it's the beingness. Well, the middle phase is actually ecstatic intimacy. And the third phase is ecstatic ecstasy. So the beingness, the relatedness, and the uniting. The interesting part when we look at intimacy, into me, I see. So I'm in relationship with me in the first phase. And the stronger the relationship with me, the stronger I can have a relationship with someone else. So now let's take into me, I see, and turn it into me, you see, which is inherently the vulnerability. Oh my gosh, I'm going to let you see me in my beauty and my mess. I'm going to know that I don't have to love me when I have a bad day and I snap, that you're going to be there with me. And oh, by the way, I'm going to get to see into your soul and all of those expressions for you. So now it's an into me, you see, we're seeing into each other. And then what ends up happening when we really marry those two is that it moves into the area of into me, you are. There is no separation between us. And so what we're wanting is this closeness. What we often do is we hide. Oh, I'll show you this part, but oh my God, if he knew that, oh, he might not stay. Or oh my gosh, if I tell him what I really want, he'll judge me. Or, we'll be in a fight. Like, we have all these kinds of reasons that we hide our truth. And so that's not intimacy. Trying to create this closeness. But the very moment that we hide something, we're actually building a gap in us. And it is only through that full exposure, the nakedness of heart, the nakedness of spirit, the nakedness of body as well. But it's that nakedness of essence and humanness. We fall in love with someone's humanness, not their perfection, not their greatness, but this vulnerable, messy being. And that is where we can actually get into, there is no separation. We're actually in union.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. I actually used that word humanness on someone recently. I love it. It's crazy because I grew up in LA, so the Hollywood scene isn't, doesn't sway me one way or another. But one or two actors recently, and actors can be male or female, they go by the masculine gender tone of it. One was RuPaul, and I have known about him my entire life, of course. He's a famous drag queen. He's very much, states I'm a man, I just like to dress like a woman. He has a show out, and I wrote him and I was telling him, I can see your humanness. And it's really beautiful to be able to see somebody's humanness. It's non-gender, it's non-judgment, it's non-anything, it's his humanness. And that's what I guess we all really want, is for people to see our humanness. That's the intimate part. That's the wow.
Yes, me for who I am.
Yes.
And we all want unconditional love. I can't tell you the number of clients that will come to me and they say, I just want somebody to love me unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is we'll never get that one. We'll never get that from someone else because we actually can't receive and trust that love because we're not giving that grace to the true humanity. And it is, I love that you speak to that and you've shared about that, because that is the essence of true unconditional love that sets the stage for us to go into places of ecstasy. And ecstasy is not just about lovemaking, but it's certainly an aspect of it. But it is, oh my God, the vibration between us, the touch. I've had these experiences where just a touch of the hand is the most full body experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Only through that vulnerability and that intimacy that we can get access to these realms of ecstasy.
Mm-hmm. Those realms are amazing. They're amazing. We can also have them in our meditation, ladies.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's really beautiful because when you think about the historically the average person's life, right? And we've all seen it with on TV, moms and pops and blah blah blah. It has not had any form of ecstasy per se, the average, the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you want to live your life? Do you want to live it in just this mundane, I wake up, I go to work, I eat, I have a family, and I go to bed? Or do you want it to feel like you're so excited for those gushy, luscious, juicy moments that you can create, right? You have to do the work to get to that place, but first you have to understand that it's something you want.
Yes, that it's possible
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
That it's funny. We forget. We forget that it's possible because we have gotten in that rut of the mundane and the have-tos and the obligations. And it limits our capacity to really, like, every moment can be exquisitely ecstatic.
And
And
it's supposed
yeah,
to be.
and it's supposed to be. Yes, yes, life is meant to feel good. And oh my gosh, our women's bodies are so built for that pleasure.
Mhm.
So built for that pleasure. And we, not intentionally, but we numb ourselves. We numb ourselves in so many ways.
Yeah.
And
And
then we think we can't feel.
and then it started at such an early age.
Oh, yes.
You know, the body dysmorphic, the internal, the way we look at ourselves is dysmorphic. It's all about what do you want. So how to get past that? What do you want, guys? What do you want? And then decide and go from there. There's so much out there. That's why we have these type of shows, is to support you on choosing how do you want to live your life. Did you know that it could be this luscious?
Ah,
Yes.
yum, yum. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love that. And when we allow ourselves to be in that state of grace, when you can allow ecstasy in your life and pleasure, I can guarantee you will know that there is nothing greater on earth than having the ability to do this. You're at your closest state to divine love, literally, because divine love is in that high vibration and your body's operating in that high vibration. There's nothing closer to creation than that. It's really beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so innately who we are.
Yeah.
Mm.
And do you have any, for people who, we had somebody else on the show talking about boundaries in the bedroom, and there's boundaries and there's openness between couples. Would you like to, do you feel at all on talking about any of that?
Sure, I can speak to that. And the thing is, like, let's go back to these three phases: authenticity, intimacy, ecstasy. So first, I have to know what those boundaries are. I need to know what my turn-ons and my turn-offs are. So again, it's about knowing me. Then I'm going to bring that into this space of relating and sharing. And I will say, if you can't talk about sex, don't have it. You're missing the intimacy piece. Like, seriously.
Right.
If you want a quality, deep, ecstatic sex life, you've got to be able to talk about it. And so, I will say this to singles all the time: if you're not at a place where you can talk about sex with this person, like, skip it. Either on to the next or go back in and look at what part of me isn't willing to have this conversation. Because now, when we get into the space of navigating boundaries and desires and I don't know, maybe I want to explore that, but I'm not sure. And so how, like, trust is impossible without authentic relationship to self and authentic relationship to other. Because if we're not expressing and communicating and listening, how can there possibly be trust? So as we're navigating boundaries and being able to say confidently no has everything to do with me and how willing I am for him to say, oh, well, if that's your boundary, then I'm walking away. Okay, great, next.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's, this is my boundary and I have a curiosity. One step at a time, would you explore this with me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that I can trust my yes and my no. See, that's the key also in the bedroom, because if we don't have access completely to our no, we cannot have access to our yes. Any yes, any going along with it is complicit and passive. And that's not femininity. That is the shadow side of femininity.
Absolutely.
And it's what turns us into the victims.
Right, right.
And so, empowered place of, I know I'm going to say yes and I'm going to say no. And then I have space to explore what might be beyond my original thought boundaries. But it's because I'm honoring me. And then I can really listen to, do I trust this partner to go places that I haven't been before? Because those places can be amazing. But it's through the intimacy that we can explore it.
I love that. You have to know first whether it's a yes or a no within yourself. That's really powerful. And as you were saying that, I was about, inside I was saying, yeah, otherwise you're the victim. And then you said that it's just really, that's really the foundation. If we are doing because that's what we are, and I used to be that way, I was actually molested for 6 years until I could say no at 11 years old and get away from him. But I took that, and women do, we take the layers forward because we're afraid, or we don't know what to do, or, we want to get along, or we're just unsure. So what we do is we dig into who we are.
Yes.
And once we clear that up, the yeses that were no's become no's.
Yes,
and we
exactly.
We learn safety, right? It's all about that safety and that love and that connection, because you can't have true ecstasy or intimacy if you're not with your yeses and your nos.
The authenticity.
I love you said that. That's so perfect.
Well, and it's so funny because you remind me, back when the Me Too movement was first coming out, and men are still being trashed.
I know. And they don't know what to do.
And they don't know what to do. And we have this idea that it's all about them. And it's not, because I will use myself as an example. The insecurity you talk about self-love and that being a requirement, man, that used to piss me off. But the truth was, I had no relationship here. I would never trust somebody else's love. And the number of times that I said yes to sex and intimacy, or some form of sex, because I didn't want him to leave. I wanted him to like me. I wanted that love. And I thought I was going to get that love through saying yes. And then afterwards, I'd feel like shit, because I didn't really want to be there. I was doing it as a manipulation to try to get what I wanted. And I was the one that was actually creating the perpetration, because I didn't tell the truth. And there's a difference with children and places where we are truly out of control. But there's so many places where we have not been in that relationship with self, and therefore make ourselves that victim. And no more, no more of that. Wherever I can stand for that, like being done with it.
That's awesome. It's really beautiful, because it's a full circle, or a 180. Hello, doggy. It's a 180 to coming back around, not a full circle back to, hello, I'm all trapped again, but it's a 180 to being able to know your yeses and your nos. And if you've never heard that before, think about it. Start to journal on it, literally. Would you like to tell us what your free gift is?
Yes, absolutely. So I have an Ecstatic Intimacy Jumpstart Kit. So the juiciness of intimacy, and it's got 4 parts in it. There's a singles version, there's a couples version, and we're exploring aspects of this path of soul love. We're at exploring the ways to look at, am I masculine, am I feminine, how am I showing up? There are tips and suggestions for how to bring that juiciness into the bedroom. So packed full of how do you begin to live this and explore this in your life.
It's beautiful. I love it. It's really lovely. Thank you so much. Now, before you go, will you share with us what's on your heart and your mind? You shared so much, but is there something that stands out that you want us to know?
Yeah, and there's two things. I got a little bit on, and I love this question because yesterday I got a little bit of a rant, and then this morning in the shower there was another aspect that came up, and so I'm like toying with which one. But I think this morning really, when I was in the shower and thinking about the idea that we do not let ourselves have pleasure, that we have these, we touched on this, but to really reiterate that we get in that mundane, got to get this done, got to take care of the kids, got to respond to the boss, got to take care of these emails, got to get the groceries, all these stories. And we do it rote by rote by rote day. And to remember, we are designed for pleasure. We thrive on pleasure. We are fed by pleasure. We are nourished by pleasure. We connect in pleasure. And it's not to say that we won't ever connect in tears, because we do that too. But oh, by the way, connecting in tears actually is a pathway to pleasure as well. That through those challenges, we actually have conflict becoming communion. So just as an aside, like even the stuff that's challenging is a gateway to our pleasure. And so the reminder to do whatever it takes to reconnect with your pleasure body, to reconnect with the part of you that feels, and know that it is. And I don't, like, some part of my brain goes, don't say this because it's just hocus pocus, but our birthright, our bodies are designed to have pleasure. And so for whatever way that birthright says that, because I can't think of a better way to say it, but it is our innate nature to enjoy and experience pleasure. And it starts, as you started out this conversation earlier, it starts with how we relate to ourselves. And then someone else can contribute to it. So bottom line, figure out what it takes to get in touch with your pleasure.
Can we talk a little bit? See, I told you that we might go into a conversation after that. So here's how I explain, and I want us to talk about it because I think it's really important. The soul knows what it knows, right? We, in our conscious state, we can't smell, we know what an orange smells like and tastes like, but we can't truly smell it until we're back here in these bodies, smelling those luscious perfumes and that delicious taste. Same with sex. Our body can remember what it was like. Think back. You don't even have to think back before you were incarnated into this life. You can, that's fun too. But think back when, to those stages where you were numbed. You don't think to the depth of what your body feels like until you're in the moment. So that's one thing that's so exciting about having these bodies and being these incredible soulful beings. Don't you love it?
Yes. Like that's where we forget, and we don't even realize, like, I take women through these sensuality explorations because our sensuality and our senses, it's truly sensuality comes from our senses. And that might seem obvious, but it wasn't to me originally, of like, oh, that's the gateway.
Yeah.
But to the taste, the smell, what does it feel like? What's the fabric against my skin? What's the scent in the air? What's the beauty in my home or my office or my desk or my cubicle? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, to bring those pieces, it wakes up, oh, by the way, for feminine, truly feminine women that have been felt they had to be in that masculine energy. Me, we didn't talk so much about that, but in those days of outmanning the men, I was like, let me bring on my masculine, so much so that I thought that's who I was. But the senses actually are one of the fastest ways to bring us back into our femininity and our receptivity and our light and our radiance. that makes us so attractive in every way.
It's luscious. It's my favorite.
Uh-huh.
I think that's why women can associate with oil so well, because they can smell the rose or the orange or whatever it is. And so we're both saying, ladies, get it on with your senses and
Mhm.
open yourself up.
Yes, yes, yes. Like, let it be felt in every cell of your body. And if that starts with, oh, that smells good, and that's all you get, start there. It's a journey. It's a journey. But just take first steps and begin to reconnect with that part of you that can feel and
It's
feel pleasure.
beautiful. It's really, really a beautiful experience to give yourself. Thank you for just now. You know what I'm going to do after this. After I'm out of my office today, I'm going to go get my orange oil and I'm going to be smelling it while I dance.
Awesome.
In the winter, I've turned my garage into a little dance studio. It's enclosed, it's all polished like
Right.
the house. And
Yeah.
get the car out, I turn on the music, and so I'm going to use my orange essence. Thank you for inviting
Nice.
me.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, honey, for being here. It was really a pleasure, and we all learned and connected more. Even me, to our sense of self and that those beautiful senses. I'm really, really grateful that you were here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you in another segment of Make Love Real.